Gunshots go off, they run to the gunshots to go watch the gunfight. And in the chaos, one of them catches a bullet. And you can hear the bullets whizzing by too. So, Wild West, right? Day 2, welcome to the Wild West. Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to North Country Off Grid. Today we're gonna be talking about defunding the police. And is it the right move? We have never seen the defunding of police in this country. We have never seen communities come together and just say, we don't want the police department in here anymore. We don't want it. But we have seen it before. It has been done in Germany. It's been done before. So defunding the police, yes, it is an option. Yes, it is a course of action. And we can learn from history what happened the last time we defunded police. So if you are not familiar with history, which most people are not, right? Because we all went to public school. The Nazis defunded police. And it was a way to gain control of, well, you know, to gain control of Europe eventually, right? Random pig walking around. He's not part of the video. We're talking about defunding police, right? The irony. It's a joke. It's a pig joke. It's a cop joke. Not funny. So we've seen it before, right? The Nazis used it. They defunded the police so that they had less opposition, right, when taking over the nation. So it's a tactic. It's something that has been done before. Is that what is going on here? Well, it certainly would make it easier to call in, oh, I don't know, let's say the United Nations. It would certainly make it easier to call in the United Nations with zero opposition if law enforcement wasn't there to enforce law, right? But the issue is that law enforcement doesn't enforce law in a large scale, right? They're not enforcing the law, they're following orders. Or they're going rogue in a generalized statement. And so in these communities, due to the lack of faith in law enforcement, these communities are saying, we don't want you anymore. Is that what's taking place? Or is all of this rioting and looting and all of that stuff being used as this veil to implement somebody else's plan to defund police and get police out of certain areas, or to try and get it to steamroll in this country to where everyone's like, hey, yeah, let's all defund our police. That sounds like a great idea, right? No, I'm not advocating for either side of this. I'm bringing up points because I know some of you guys are gonna cry that I have an opinion. But I'm bringing up points for both sides so that you guys can make your decision on what you think is best, because this all affects us all in a different way. For one, there's plenty of people out there who are plenty capable of taking care of themselves. They are a self-reliant bunch, and they don't call law enforcement to come and protect them. There are those people who rely on law enforcement completely, and if they need help, law enforcement's who they call. There are those people who have had negative interactions with law enforcement and they have no faith in law enforcement officers in this country. So we come from all angles. We are coming at this from all angles. There are people from all around police departments, and we're affected by it differently. So for some people, the defunding of a police organization is a good thing. For some people, the defunding of a police organization is a very bad thing. It is a scary concept. You know, essentially, if the peacekeepers are gone and you're in a community where the people are unwilling to keep the peace, which we are seeing already, if you live in that community and you are just an innocent bystander, you are now at the mercy of a lawless society, a law enforcement-less society. The laws are still there, but you are now trusting these mobs of people, these groups of looters. You're now trusting that they are not going to come and break into your house strictly based off of their moral code, which we know that's kind of why that's why law enforcement's there, right? We know that there's a need for law enforcement because there's people who like to victimize other people. So that's where law enforcement comes from. We also know that there's communities of people who don't prey on their neighbors. So it's an interesting concept, guys. I don't know where I stand on this, but one thing I do like, one thing I will say that I support is, one, if you're not happy with the system you have, you as a community, you as a nation should be, it should be respected that you choose to change it, right? So if you feel that you have nothing but a bunch of tyrant cops in your area and they harm more than they do good, there should be some sort of course of action to get rid of them, right? And unfortunately, we deal with police unions where we see bad cops get fired and then get rehired, or get fired and then go get hired somewhere else and become somebody else's problem, right? We see it here locally. We see it everywhere. Bad cops staying on the job. We see an environment where good cops are not allowed to speak out. We see an environment where you're not supposed to speak up. You're not supposed to do the right thing. It just is a continuation of the political game, right? And where everyone is, you know, in the end, everyone is you're all about keeping your own job, keep making sure your paycheck comes in. And this is a problem. This is a culture we are creating where, in the end, if we only care about a paycheck coming in, we are willing to enforce tyranny on our neighbors because the paycheck is the only thing that matters. So the system is definitely in need of a fix. Now, do we want to go to Wild West rules? For some of us, we can get by with Wild West rules. We understand what that means. We understand how to protect ourselves. We understand the mentality that is needed to make sure you keep yourself alive. Many of us do it already, right? We already go through the motions. We already mentally prepare. We already train for it. You already live in that mindset. The difference is we have law enforcement, which, you know, you've got, it's your backup plan. I say that, but in this area, you're not going to get help, right? They're going to come and take a report. We live in such a rural area. It takes law enforcement a pretty extended amount of time to get to you in many of these places, to where they're not going to come and join in your gunfight. They're going to come and take a report when it's all said and done. So you go through the steps of taking care of yourself. Both sides of the fence there, okay? There's your arguments for both sides, right? But when we see tyrannical cops and we don't want them anymore, there needs to be a course of action to get rid of them. And when we see a tyrannical system, a corrupt system, an unjust system in law enforcement, there needs to be a course to get rid of that system. Now that we have seen it done, well, it hasn't been done, okay? So we haven't seen the defunding just yet. There are places who will be defunding. They're going through the motions to defund their law enforcement. So we haven't seen it just yet, but what we have seen, like in Atlanta PD walked off the job. They said, see you later, you're on your own. To the citizens of Atlanta, you're on your own, right? So the police departments took off. So they got what they wanted. They now have a law enforcement-less society. The quote-unquote peacekeepers are not there. So we get to see how this plays out, which 2020 is so weird. We get to see how these little microcosms of life get to play out, right? We get to watch Chaz and we get to see how their communism is going to play out, right? Oh, by the way, somebody was murdered there last night. We get to see Atlanta in their lawlessness, right? We get in their law enforcementlessness, right? Because here's the premise. We don't need law enforcement because we can police ourselves. We can maintain the community ourselves. That's the premise. We're already seeing videos out of Atlanta. We're already seeing videos of gunfights in the streets and people getting shot on video. I've already seen a video of it. We're not even 2 days into, hey, the police are gone, and there's people roaming around with guns, shooting at each other, and then shooting random people, right? You can watch the video. This woman picks up a ricochet off the ground, looks like it bounced off the ground and popped her in the leg, right? So in the middle of a gun battle, and then these people think it's an exciting way of life, right? They're all down there, gunshots go off, they run to the gunshots to go watch the gunfight. And in the chaos, one of them catches a bullet. And you can hear the bullets whizzing by too. So, Wild West, right? Day 2, welcome to the Wild West. This thing is going to play out, and we get to watch it. We get to watch and understand these concepts of what these communities have decided they wanted, and we get to see it take place. So we get to see what defunding the police looks like. We get to see what having no law enforcement in your area looks like. We get to... It's an amazing opportunity. We get to watch this stuff take place. It's a huge social experiment, so it's fantastic, right? And if things get too bad, we might see the United Nations. This bee doesn't want me here. We might get to see the United Nations show up, right? So that is the world we are living in, guys. So defund the police. Is it good? Is it bad? And are you prepared to live with the consequences of those actions, be it good or bad?